I remember a time when if I had gotten 30 likes and 2 comments, I would have popped the most expensive bottle of champagne. But here it is now. I have gotten used to a certain amount of likes, a certain amount of comments, that when I don't get there, it's like an ego bruise. And I really had to pull back the layers, like, why am I not cheering for myself? Why all of a sudden am I so dependent on the praise of others? And that's exactly what it is. So, and bienvenue to a quick word of inspiration. C'est moi, Jessie, your resident Francophile, and here on Cappuccinos and Consignment, I focus on lifestyle, travel, and finance. S'il vous plaît, take a moment to like, subscribe, and follow. Follow me over on Insta. I have a blog, and I am still desperately trying to find my way on TikTok. So this video is not specifically for content creators, but I am trying to catch my breath because I just ran up a bunch of steps, but you're gonna get this word. I will admit that I have gotten wrapped up in vanity metrics. And vanity metrics are something that I have gone so long without, I don't want to say caring about, because that would be a bit misleading, just being totally transparent in the world of content creating. Vanity metrics does matter to a certain extent. And I'm so glad to say to a certain extent, because a lot of brands now are no longer caught up on that. There was a time when brands would only work with you if you had X amount of followers, if you had this or that. But with the influx of being able to obtain those things, and I don't want to say the word because I don't know if I'll be flagged here or not, but people can get what they want, if you catch my drift. So vanity metrics, they have never mattered pour moi until recently. And I know that that is just a combination of so many other things that are happening in my life that I have shared avec mes amis. If you are a mes amis, just share some of the things that are happening with my family. And I know that this is like a distraction pour moi, me being upset about vanity metrics versus truly what I should be upset about. Just 2 things that has been helping me through this difficult time, like just offline life, and then difficult times here on my online life. One, be your own biggest cheerleader. I have had to do that more than ever now, and we'll get into that. And the second one is, what's the second one? This is embarrassing. And the second is knowing your why, being your own cheerleader. That is something that we all need. We all need support. We all need to know that someone is rooting for us. But the reality is not everyone has that, depending on what it is that you are trying to do. I have shared this story before, how when I started a new career, it was just difficult for people to understand. And when I say people, I mean my family, to understand. And it's not that they did not support me, they just did not understand it. So perhaps you are in a space where you are making a transition and people do not quite understand. Thus, it is difficult for them to root for you. You have to be able to do that yourself. You have got to be your biggest cheerleader, because we truly cannot depend on the praises from external factors, because when it disappears, you'll find yourself in my situation. But in reference to content creating, this is something that you must do. You must be your biggest cheerleader. And I, for one, I have been jumping off the stands for myself because I have needed it so bad. And it's like I said, it's embarrassing, but I will share that because I have been totally transparent avec mes amis my entire content creating journey. I never cared about vanity metrics initially, but it's one of those things where I guess you get used to a certain, I'll just say number in my case in point. You kind of get used to a certain space. Oh, if I post this, I know I'll get perhaps around this amount of likes, this amount of comments. Things become pretty calculated. And when those things change, it can be a huge blow to your ego. And that's something that I have been dealing with as of late. And again, I know that I am like displacing real emotions with these superficial ones, but I am human. So with that, let me give you an example. I recently posted a reel that got maybe, I'd say 200, 300 likes and maybe 30 comments. I remember a time when if I had gotten 30 likes and 2 comments, I would have popped the most expensive bottle of champagne. But here it is now. I have gotten used to a certain amount of likes, a certain amount of comments, that when I don't get there, it's like an ego bruise. And I really had to pull back the layers, like, why am I not cheering for myself? Why all of a sudden am I so dependent on the praise of others? And that's exactly what it is. And so I had to stop and record this video today because I have seen other content creators talking about, I don't know if it's the algorithm, I don't know if Mercury is in retrograde, I don't know what is happening, but it is something that I have seen a lot of content creators just speaking about. And I don't know if they have spoken about the behind the scenes, like how it really affects them, but I will, because it does. It really does. And I have just had to really put things into perspective. One, again, when I first started Cappuccinos and Consignment and I only had 30 mezzanine, to have gotten all 30 of them to like my picture would have been a milestone. To get 30 people to leave a comment on my photo would have been epic. So recalibrating, I had to take this online life and put it into actual context. Here I am, a bit down, that only, operative word, only 300 people liked my photo, my reel, I'll just say post. Only 300 people. No, I just had to inquire with myself. If I was walking down the street and 300 people stopped me and told me that I looked gorgeous, told me that I looked stunning, told me how much they loved my coat, they loved my belt, just said positive things. If 300 people in real life, offline, had told me that, I wouldn't even be recording this video. I would be on cloud. Is there a cloud higher than 9? If there is, that's where I would be. And it shows you how social media has the ability to tear you down. And I have learned, and I continue to learn, that you cannot become attached to numbers. You really cannot. And it's hard for me to say that because I really feel like, come on, girl, why you always lying? But numbers do matter, but they shouldn't. Does that make sense? Like, they definitely matter in the sense of, wanting to convert numbers to dollars, wanting to build a brand. In those cases, they do. But when it comes to you putting your phone down just in real life, those numbers should not matter. And I know this. So why it bothers, and I can say currently bothers me, is something I really have to peel back the layers and really, really work through, because it is not healthy. It is not healthy to become so wrapped up in what other people think about you, if other people appreciate what it is that you're doing, if other people, what have you. Because the fact of the matter is, in the day of cancel culture, we are all one word away from being canceled. Truly. And if you become so wrapped up with numbers, and I'm going to continue to say numbers because that's what I most relate to right now. If you become so wrapped up and affixed to a number, you could drive yourself crazy. And I have watched a lot of YouTubers, a lot of Instagram, just a lot of influencers kind of go to the brink of insanity because it is so difficult between the crazy comments that we received, the vanity metrics, not knowing if we're hot or not, if we're not on trend, if we're like, there's so many variables that affect content creators emotionally and mentally. I can see why people have just stopped cold turkey. And my audience is nowhere as big as some of these big time vloggers that I used to tune into all the time. Think about those who started Instagram when it was only photos. and they were used to getting 60,000 likes on a photo, and now they're getting 6 because people who are posting reels are getting, it's just so many variables. And I just hope that that helps someone, whether you are a content creator or whether this is just real life. You have got to be your biggest cheerleader, because sometimes you will be your only support system. Next, you've got to know your why. And that is something that has been really pushing me through during this time, again, with everything going on with my family and then with the vanity metrics here online. I have had to remember my why. I posted a reel recently on Insta, and I'll insert it here. Actually, no, I'll do it as a short. No, I'll do it here. Can't make up my mind. I recently posted a reel on Insta sharing my why, and it's an audio, a trending sound on TikTok where I can't even think right now. It's a song. Motivation. Like that. It's very catchy. So people use that sound and they make it comical. Like, it's so delightful. I love it. But I use that sound to really share my motivation, because on those days when the vanity metrics are not metricing, when the vanity metrics are not in my favor, when the algorithm I just feel like utterly detest moi, I have to remember my why. And I shared on that reel that my whys are so plentiful, and they are more than enough reason for me to continue showing up on days when I feel like no one is watching. One of my whys is my mare. My mother watches my vlogs every day, all hours of the night. I will not share her name here, but I shared it on my Instagram subscription group, and Mesame now know who this person is who leaves all these comments, and it just makes them so happy, and it makes me happy as well. So with that, if you look at these timestamps, you see that my mare is watching my vlog 2 and 3 in the morning. And it really, really warmed my heart is when Montflair told me that my mare watches my vlogs while in chemo. She's showing the nurses, she's telling everyone how proud she is that her baby girl is following her passion and pursuing her dreams. And if that isn't enough to show up, if that isn't enough to motivate me, I don't know what is. Knowing that why really does help me on these days when I just feel like, why am I doing this? One of the other reasons, my Juju the camera kid, I have shared on weekly vlogs, and Avec Mesame over on Insta, I have shared his needs. And building a brand, building just a legacy, building generational wealth is something that I am so interested in, because I never want it to be a time where my son, because of his special needs, is denied a job. He's not able to get a job that would afford him to actually live on his own, a livable wage. So there's so many factors in that. Like, I want to build a corporation where he can work for me. He can do what it is that he wants to do and not have to worry about those things, because there will be so many other things that he has to worry about. Finances, that's one of the things that I do not want him to stress about. So on those days, again, when I am just over it, I don't even want to get on camera, because it's like, why am I wasting my time? No one's watching, no one's engaging. Why am I doing this? But I know that this is part of a bigger plan, and that plan is to just make sure my family will forever be good. And the other thing truly is being able to connect avec mes amis. I have shared this so many times. I have met the most amazing people online. I know I have mentioned some of the downsides of being on social media, which there are, and I would be lying if I, totally brazed past that. But there are so many perks to being online, and one of them is just meeting people that I may have never met if it wasn't for social media. I have built a community of people that I know support me. So whether that's the 30 people who like and comment or the 30,000, I know that my message is reaching people, because I get those messages in my DMs. I get so many messages in my DMs from mostly women telling me how following me have made them want to live out loud how they have gone back to school. They didn't think they could, but hearing my random stories and all my random degrees have encouraged them to do so. There have been so many moms of special needs children who I have connected with. I mean, the list can go on, and it makes me so happy, and that is part of my why. I know that these numbers do not matter. If I only connect with one person, if I only inspire 2 people, that's it. Can I ask for anything more? Yeah, I could, but I'm Gucci. Or Louis, I should say. No, but I really have to sit down at times and think about that. One, just think about how far I have come, because we really do forget. And I can say that. We really do. If you scroll all the way down my feed and you see how when I first started, 15 likes, 10 likes, 12, that was on a good day. So here it is. I'm disappointed about 300. So it is all about perspective, and it is truly all about knowing your why. If you are going back to school, know your why, because it's not going to be easy. There are going to be times, especially if you're working a full-time job, if you have children, if you don't know your why, it is going to be hard to show up some days. Maybe you want to switch careers. Maybe you want to finish school because you didn't. Maybe you just want to learn something new. Whatever it is, know why you are doing it. And on those days when you just don't feel like you have it in you, trust me, it will get you through. Knowing that you are your biggest cheerleader will get you through. I could go on much longer, but my dear little baby Chena will be banging on the door soon, and I really need to get myself together. Today was a bit challenging. It really was, and I shared some of those things over on my stories, and I just hope that these random words of encouragement does help you in whatever it is that you are going. I told you she was going to start. No, I just want you to know that you are not alone, and I will be your cheerleader as well. But you got to cheer for yourself first. So I will see you all at some point. If you are into weekly vlogs, come on back on Tuesday. No, Tuesday I may not, because I may be traveling. Just come back. We'll figure it out. Alrighty. Ciao for now.